Welcome, this is Martin from My Ielts Tutor, and I'm here to talk about reading practice and reading. There's a big misconception that many students have when they're preparing for IELTS, and that is to take a lot of reading tests and just practice that way. They'll study the strategies, they'll do a reading test, and eventually they'll get better, but I don't think that's enough. Sure, it's going to help you score really well. I think as much as 7.5. For those with advanced English skills, higher. It'll be the scores could be higher, probably around 8. But for most people, I don't think that's enough. I think what people should do is they should read for reading's sake. Now, what do I mean by reading for reading's sake? Well, this is what I mean. You see, you want to read on a daily basis, not IELTS practice reading, but you want to read on a daily basis. This way, when you read, you open yourself to new ideas. You learn new vocabulary. Reading is a great way of learning vocabulary. And so you write, when you come across new words, you write them down in your vocabulary notebook. It will help with your writing too. You can see how people write. And then you can maybe try to mimic their writing style from what you read. And so those are some of the benefits from reading, that you can get. The more you read, the more you're going to understand what you read because you're practicing reading. But you want to read to understand. So what do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? So you're reading to understand the main ideas, the main points, the important details, those two things, those sort of things. Maybe picking up on inferences. And what are inferences? These are things that are not said by the author or by the writer that the information suggests to you. For example, in this city, the roads are in poor shape because they're not well maintained. The traffic police. What makes it worse is the traffic police don't enforce the law, and what makes it even more desperate is that no one follows the law. So from that information, there's an inference that you can make, and it's usually the most obvious one. And so the inference I would make based on that information is it's dangerous to drive in this city. You don't want to drive here. Okay, so that's another thing, but that's to kind of demonstrate what, one of the things besides main ideas, important details, you can also pick up on inferences made by the writer. And those are important because those are things that are tested in IELTS reading. And they're important for you to understand as you read more and more. When you read to understand, you're going to get a lot more out of what you're reading. And so, how can you read? The question here is, how can you read to understand? Well, one of the things, this is what you can do. First of all, as you read, take notes. All you need to do is note down the main idea. Now, where can you find main ideas? Well, the main ideas are usually, most of the time, are in the first two sentences, are stated in the first two sentences. Make sure you read those, note those down. For IELTS reading, you need to be able to identify the main ideas because, first of all, one question type, paragraph headings. You have a list of paragraph headings, and then you have to match them with the paragraph that they belong to. The paragraph headings are always based on the main idea of that paragraph. So if you can identify what the main idea of that paragraph is, you can identify the correct answer the paragraph heading for that particular paragraph. And however, sometimes in that particular question, that you may have to read the entire paragraph to get the general idea of it. So, but like I said, most of the time, the main idea is usually in the first 2 sentences of the paragraph. Important details are generally those details that are stated first. Those are the most important details. Anything that's not stated in the later stage are generally not that important, especially for IELTS reading. So during your general reading practice, in your articles, in your books or blog posts, you can note down the important details. Now, general reading takes only maybe 30 minutes, not very long, and this is very simple to do, and it's going to make your reading comprehension much better. It's going to increase your ability to answer the questions, especially difficult questions, better. So practice every day reading articles, blog posts, newspaper articles. Make sure they're relatively long. Editorials are good ones for this. This is the beauty of reading every day, and reading for the sake of reading, and reading to understand what you're reading. Okay, so thank you for joining me today. I've really enjoyed this, and I look forward to seeing you next time.